Guys, we start in Houston, where Texas quarterback Deshaun Watson became the third quarterback 24 years old or younger to record a 16-plus point comeback in the playoffs since at least 2000, joining Andrew Luck and Marcus Mariota. That comeback thanks in part to this amazing play by Watson, staying on his feet after it looked like he was getting wrapped up for the sack, but it was a huge play in the game and one of the bigger ones of his career. But head coach Bill O'Brien says he doesn't even think it was his best play of the season.
I'm very lucky. I've seen some incredible plays, and that was an incredible play. But I think that when you get kicked in the eye, and you still are able to complete a touchdown pass, I'm not sure that you can surpass that. I mean, I just think that play that he made on Sunday was an incredible play, and he's an incredible player. But when he got kicked in the eye against Oakland, and he grabbed his eye, and he really didn't know what was going on with his eye, and he kept the play alive to complete a pass, that was a pretty cool play.
Yes, it was. Cool play, bro. On the coaching front, Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels has a busy week of coaching interviews lined up with his team out of the playoffs. According to NFL Network Insider Ian Rappaport, McDaniels will interview with the Panthers today, the Giants on Wednesday, then the Browns on Friday. Meanwhile, the Rams are in the market for a defensive coordinator. That's because they are not bringing back Wade Phillips, whose contract expires at the end of the season. In a statement, head coach Sean McVay saying, in part, quote, his wealth of experience, sound advice, and helpful demeanor has been invaluable to our coaches and players, and also has set an example for me as a head coach and a leader of men, end quote. Now, Phillips tweeted out his thanks to the Rams for the past 3 seasons and added he still wants to coach and feels like he can contribute. And if nothing else, you can still follow him on Twitter because he still drops some gems every once in a while, for sure.
He definitely does. We love him and wish him the best. Thank you so much, Will. The Rams didn't renew his contract. I'm talking about defensive coordinator Wade Phillips, of course. McVay hinted there might be some changes coming throughout the season. Take a listen to what the head coach had to say. This was after the end of their regular season. I actually don't have that, but, you know, we've heard him. We've heard him at the podium talking about that. And listen, some self-reflection. Wade Phillips is out. Was it the right move for the Rams? To me, their biggest issue was Jared Goff taking a step back, and Wade Phillips doesn't have anything to do with that. Their defense, they're both their defense and offense ranked in the top 15 this year.
Yeah, I think they had to make a choice. You know, do they want to go younger as a coaching staff or go fresher as a coaching staff, or do they want to continue to keep the same pieces in place? I think we all saw this coming. And the first thing that I saw this year when I knew that change was brewing was when they got rid of Aqib Talib. And then they made the move for Jalen Ramsey. And I thought, man, that's a bold move to get a guy who wants to get paid as the top cornerback in the league. And I don't even know what's going on with that situation, if they're going to break him off the way they wanted to. But I knew that they were going to start to make moves after that. This happens every year. When you win, people pull away from your coaching staff. When you don't win, you get rid of coaches on your staff. That's just how the game goes.
I know, I speak to McVay a lot, and I know that the loss of LaFleur and the loss of Zach Taylor in back-to-back years took a lot out of him, and he was really invested in the offense. And I know that he cares too much about everything, that he also wants to do stuff with the defense. I think for Sean McVay, what he wants to, the ideal situation is where he could be a bit more of like a CEO coach, have someone who can run the offense, have someone who can run the defense. There's nothing against Wade Phillips. But if there is someone out there who we can look to on the defensive side of the ball and say, okay, 3rd and 16, I know that against the 49ers in a big spot, like I can trust that this is going to happen and you're on the exact same wavelength as me, that's fine. But let's be certain here. Wade Phillips didn't lose that Super Bowl last year. They held the Patriots to 13 points.
Talk about
and
it.
A lot of big games. The defense was what carried the Rams this year, not the offense. Nothing but good positive things out of L.A. for Wade Phillips. A great tenure as a defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams.
Everybody loves him. The McVay thing is so interesting because I feel like we are now past the first commercial break of Sean McVay's Behind the Music. Like, we had the ride, and it was all great and everything, but, like, evolve or die. Because let's look around. Like, Pete and Shanny are a problem, and they're going to be a problem. Cliff and Kyler are coming. Like, you can't just be like, well, we'll just do it again. You got to evolve. And I think he had this magical ride where everyone's hiring all his friends, and I took over the league by storm. It's a huge step back. And I think this kind of says, like, this is not okay. I like Wade. Everybody likes Wade. I don't like not making the playoffs, and I think this is evolving because the NFC West is wild, and it's going to be for a long time.
There's some fans that might look at this like not a scapegoat situation,
Sure.
but what about the offense? So let's talk about what the offense, like, was it just Todd Gurley being hurt, and we expect them to bounce back and improve this year? Do you guys have any concerns about this offense?
Well, listen,
I have huge concerns.
Life comes at you fast. The most concerning thing is Jared Goff worth all of that money? And then you look at the injuries. You got Kupp and you got Todd Gurley.
Gurley worth the money.
Exactly. Was Gurley worth the money?
Gosh.
You know, one thing we do know for sure, the jury isn't out on Aaron Donald being worth every single penny. I think right now you're either going to have to build around Jared Goff or figure out if Todd Gurley is your running back for the future. Because this year, he looked like a good running back. He didn't look like the best running back in football.
Todd Gurley did not look like a good runner. It was sad to watch Todd Gurley. I thought he was so tough at the end of the season.
I think that's because he's so good previous year.
That's the thing. It was watching this great player at that age to not have the juice. He didn't have it this year.
Yeah.
And whether it's health or whether it's something else or whether it's the offensive line, you can say whatever you want. Gurley took a major step back right here. This is a former MVP candidate in back-to-back seasons. Gurley is huge, and if it's not Gurley, the running game, someone, or the offensive line or another one of those running backs needs to get that going or they won't do anything.
Are some of those veteran O-linemen, the Weddles of the world, too, on defense, are they coming back, you think?
Whitworth, Weddle, all these names that we know, what's their future? We shall see because they're not a young team when it comes to that core. Yeah. You've got very young players, but there are some leaders.
The Gurley thing is massive because it's bigger than the Gurley thing. Listen, Gurley thing messes with Derrick Henry, with Saquon, with McCaffrey. If I'm all their GMs, I'm like, Todd Gurley was incredible. They paid him. It's